Greetings and salutations, friends. A bit of news on Space Hulk Deathwing, so let's have a little bit of a look, shall we? This is the first of what I hope to be, and assume to be, a series of dev blogs that will be coming out until the game's release on the 9th of December, because we are running out of time quite quickly now, and we still don't have much in the way of information. The beta, that is supposed to happen around the 20th, although that is not yet confirmed, mind you. It will give a lot of information, but until then, let's see what they have to tell us. So, an armory, Stormbolter, Assault Cannon, Heavy Flamer, Plasma Cannon, Lightning Claw, Thunder Hammer. Okay, good. That's a fairly basic stat, which you will be able to unlock more guns and weapons as you continue on in the game. You'll be playing as the Librarian in the solo campaign and some AI teammates if you're playing the campaign or solo. Probably some skirmish mode, I would assume. And you can play, of course, with friends or multiplayer where everyone can have their own loadouts, I assume. And Librarians also will be able to select psychic powers they wish to use in battle. 3 of them, in fact, which have stuff like Chain Lightning here, Shockwave, some pushbacks, some damage, cool shit. I wonder if you can play the Librarian in multiplayer. That would be quite interesting. I also want to see what other weapons they have unlocked for us. I would really like to see a combi Stormbolter, you know, with a single magazine plasma gun, for example. Like, it has got like 30 shots of plasma. That's all it gets, but it's a little bit of extra, flexibility maybe. That would be cool. Or maybe assault cannons using specialized ammunition, stuff like that. That'd be really awesome. And of course, the Gene Stealers. Now, here, they do claim that the Gene Stealers will have a bit of a AI to them, a bit of a hunting AI. Like here, if a lone Gene Stealer is spotted in the distance, it may run away in order to join a larger ambush later on. Conversely, a larger group may split into 2 smaller groups before attacking from all sides. I hope they can make that work, because I've seen people promise that in games for like last 5 fucking years now. Like, oh yeah, the AI will totally think and it'll flank you and shit. And it practically never actually bloody happens. So I'm hoping they're gonna get that to work here, because Space Hulk would be the perfect place for this. A bit of a deadly cat and mouse where you wander around in tight, cramped corridors as you can hear the Gene Stealers clattering and chittering all around you, trying to outflank you, running down separate passageways, all shit like that. That'd be awesome. So I hope they manage to pull that off. And of course, you'll be facing basic Gene Stealers and bigger bastards as well, which is good. And also, looking from the screenshot like this, and all the screenshots in fact, it looks like they've gotten the interior design of the Space Hulks very, very, very right. Which would be awesome, because I love the look of it. And if they can also just introduce that element of kind of cat and mouse game to it, it would be really cool. So, when you have a melee weapon, you can also parry attacks, which is quite interesting. But attacks will not be parried from the side or the rear, so you'll essentially be parrying in a, 90 degrees arc in front of you perhaps? Maybe 180, depending on, like, if you're just parrying with a Lightning Claw, you get a 90 degree arc. With a Thunder Shield, you get, like, 180. Maybe, that'd be cool. I also would allow a Terminator to kind of create an artificial choke point if he can get a corridor narrow enough, which would be awesome. Also, I like this here. So, forcing the Gene Stealers in a choke point is of course very important. And avoiding them in large open areas, you prefer to fight in tight corridors, because that's where the firepower of the Terminators will really, really work out the most. And here's the interesting thing. Now, they mentioned that you will occasionally run into locked doors, like here, which are not sealed. You can apparently seal the doors yourself. I also hope you can do other stuff, like maybe create artificial choke points by, taking your power fist and smashing down a pillar or something. That would be awesome. But if you run into a sealed door, you can bash it down or find a different and slower path to your objective. This is interesting, because let's say you've got, like, the boss room, the place where you're going to have to hold out for, like, 5 minutes or something until the extraction ship, the classical scenario. If you go a longer route to that room, you will be far more exposed while you're doing so, and might take additional damage, might waste ammunition, might even take casualties. But if you bash down the door, you now maybe have to defend 3 entrances instead of perhaps 2 entrances, which could be pretty damn important. So I like that. That's a really cool little part of it, and it makes the Space Hulk idea work for it, because Space Hulks are twisted wrecks with all kinds of blocked passageways and stuff, which would be awesome. Also, they mentioned that the Space Hulk is of course made up of several different ships, which is why it's the Space Hulk. I wonder if there's going to be anything non-Imperial in there. Maybe an Eldar ship, maybe Tau, maybe a heretical ship. That would be pretty fucking cool, wouldn't it? So, this is interesting. It's mostly a fluff piece. Like, I'd go so far as to call it more or less a pure fluff piece. But they are promising future dev blogs. I'm hoping they're going to go into a bit more detail on mechanics, how the game will play, and ideally, I would like to see a Let's Play from the developers, or just some community contributor, anything at this point honestly, which plays through a single level. And I'd like to see this before the open beta, to be honest, because it would just be a nice show of faith. You know, they just like, look, we have nothing to hide, it's fine. Which the open beta is already saying, but, you know, I'm a little bit worried again, because they're being a bit dodgy on the open beta date. They went like, it's probably going to be November the 20th, and they go like, but we haven't made sure of that yet, which could just be good old-fashioned, you know, company speak, like, you know, we're almost sure, but, you know, something could happen, which I perfectly respect. But with the lack of information, I must admit to a slight feeling of trepidation. Also, on a final note, I have not yet received any further information about the Games Planet deal with the discount relating to the beta. So, if I do not post a video informing you with an update before the beta is released on the 20th, I would suggest considering cancelling your pre-order at Games Planet and getting the beta from some other place if you're interested in the beta. If you don't really want to play the beta and just want to wait until you can see someone else give you impressions, then of course that's up to you. Like I mentioned, I am going to be away for then, so I will probably not have a video up before the 27th, 28th probably, because I'll be getting back on the 25th, so I will be geeking it pretty hard once I get back, assuming the beta is up and running by then, and I'll give you my impressions as soon as I can. Until we have some more information, I have been Arch, thank you very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Have a good day.